So, Kenna Bridge of Spirits is an action adventure game developed and published by Ember Lab. I've not really heard about the company before, but based on this game, I would say they've done something really amazing. Kenna obviously is the game is about Kenna, sorry, and she's a young spirit guide who helps spirits sort of pass over to the next life, something of the sorts. And that's just how it starts. The way the game sort of draws you in and just puts you really into her shoes, and it doesn't waste time in telling you what needs to be done and how the game's supposed to go. You start off in a dark cave, and within the first few seconds slash minutes they use the cave to sort of teach you how her moves work, how she attacks, how she defends, and then it's just straight on into the story. And there's so much that the game offers personally that I really just want to talk about. So yeah, really. If you start with gameplay, the gameplay for Kenna Bridge of Spirits, I would say personally it has a few elements of similar gameplay styles from Zelda. Not too much, but the same idea of attacks not being like the combos that you can do attack wise are not particularly expansive, but once you have a good idea of what's going on, what you can do, you can mix and match in a way that obviously works for you. And as you play with the game, as you continue on with the story, you get a bit newer powers and new abilities like the spirit bow and the spirit bomb, which is really fun. As I said, the gameplay is relatively straightforward. The enemies are relatively straightforward. As the game progresses, you get new types of enemies, new types of attacks, and things that you need to learn how to dodge. Early on in the game, you get taught how to dodge and counter, and as the game goes on, you find that you actually need to learn how to counter properly because some enemies you cannot beat without mastering how to counter, and that's something I had to learn for myself like the hard way. And it's really fun. It's really fun because even with the combat being relatively basic, the boss battles are not basic. The boss battles are challenging, very, very challenging. And this is one of the things that actually really, really made me happy because when you're playing the game, obviously the game was cute, the game was sweet, and there's a certain lightness to it that you can't help but just sort of connect to. And while this is all fun, really, is the one thing that I was really worried about personally was the boss battles, because it's one thing to have a game that's fun, it's another thing to have a game that's challenging as well, and this is challenging. This will definitely keep you on your toes, make you think about strategies, make you think about upgrades, make you think about how to do certain combats, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Another thing that the game actually adds in terms of what you can do is this thing called the rot. Now, I'm sure you guys have all seen the trailers for it. This little spirit little things. I don't know what to call them. They're called rots in the game, but they're basically plushies to be bought at the store somewhere. But as the story progresses, you get obviously encouraged to find as many as you can, and the more you find, the more things you can do. You can use them to cleanse like little darkness zones. You can use them in combat, and to be honest, they play a very, very big part in combat. And just like before, is when you start mixing and matching, you find out how to use them perfectly, how to use them on time, and all of this just adds to the encounters that you find yourself in. And they're so sweet. You can pause the game, you can take pictures with them, you can play with them. There's so much. This game is good. This game is good. It's jokes aside, this game is a wonderful game, and I feel like everyone, if you've got a chance to play this game, you should play this game. I'm not saying it's the best game out there. I'm not saying this game is perfect, but there's so much heart in it. There's so much that the game is giving you that I find it hard to believe that no one would not enjoy, that you wouldn't enjoy experiencing it. And that is without even talking about the sound design. The sound design of this game is one of the best I've gotten this year. The music, the little sounds, the little drum beats that come out, the little shingles here and there. It is so well done. So in my notes, I wrote that there's a certain softness to it. There is, but it's everything that you hear pulls. Pulls is not the word. Everything you hear puts you in the story in such a way that makes you connect with the characters a lot more, connect with what's going on a lot more, connect with the grand scheme of what's happening in the game. And just like every other thing, when you're obviously creating a game, creating something, everything feeds into the experience of Kenna, and that is really the best thing I can say to summarize it. That's the main takeaway for the game, is everything feeds into the game, everything works for the game, and that's why the game is so good. And honestly, like I said, if you got a chance to play the game, I think you owe it to yourself to do. I think it's one of the best games that's currently out there. I'm not saying it's a 10 over 10, but I would give this a strong 8. It's a wonderful game with a lot of heart, with a good story, with a challenging combat, with wonderful sound design, with wonderful music, and yeah, it's all around great. It's all around great. But yeah, this is obviously normal video, thoughts and impressions. Not quite done with the game yet. I'm still playing, still enjoying the game a lot. But yeah, if you play the game, obviously say how you feel about the game in the comments. If you like what you see, please go to like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.